don't know the when. We know that the fiat currency monetary system that we have today is increasingly unstable, and we're beginning to see it now, because before, in the last financial crisis, most of the risk was seen in the stock markets and indeed the bond markets, and now we're seeing it in the actual currencies itself. So yeah, we're going to see the end of this, the fiat currencies, and I mentioned the end of empire there in terms of people eating gold flakes. So what's your sense of, it's not going to happen obviously in the short term, but you think it's in the next 5, 10, 20 years basically, do you?
Well, Mark, as you know, and thank you for posting it on your website, I did that interview with RT, its first TV appearance I've had in a very long time.
Yeah,
and I said,
excellent, yeah.
Thank you. I don't think we can go another 5 years. So I'm looking for the peak to be somewhere between 2020 and 2022. I know if you go back in other videos, I probably said the peak would be in 2018. I do the best I can. I'm only human. And really, in these distorted markets that are run by quants and algorithms, the computers trading against other computers, and there's very little real human interaction. There's really no free market per se. It's more difficult. I'm not trying to make that as an excuse, but I'm also pointing out to those critics that think it's easy to sit in my shoes and do my job and try to get it right. What I do know is every fiat currency in history has failed, and this one is failing. It's just not failing nearly as quickly as those countries we already mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a question of, it's at the periphery now, but at the end of the day, all these fiat currencies are backed by absolutely nothing, and I suppose the end of empire thing is, we featured a chart, and I think you featured the chart quite frequently, basically the end of fiat currencies throughout history, and you can see the various empires are very powerful nations, particularly European nations, in the latter part of the last millennium. So you had the Portuguese, the Spanish, the Dutch, the French, and then of course the British, and basically when their power was beginning to subside, their trust in their currency. Most of them had gold as their currencies. All of them had gold as their currencies, and that's what created trust. But as they extend themselves and overstretch themselves, they got into difficulty. And I think we're seeing the same thing with the dollar. And the question, we're moving to a multipolar world and a multi-currency world, and I think we can all see that. So if you just speak, just your views of how it might come about, I suppose.
That is really a tough one, and I don't think anyone knows. I don't even know if the elites know. I mean, the top...
So many variables.
Yeah, I think there's probably infighting at the highest levels, and that's just, it's an educated guess. But, it could move into like a cryptocurrency type of situation that's government-backed, or the government says we're only approving these, and they get in the mix. And that type of thing, that's a possibility. There's, of course, a world currency possibility. There is a reset and just reprint the fiat that you have and put a different picture on it with a different, face on the currency. I am a little remiss to say I think we're going to go back to some kind of gold, although I've said it in the past, it's certainly a possibility. It's out there. Whether that's the most probable, I'm not certain. I don't think silver will ever be officially in the monetary system, although it would be lovely if it were, but I doubt it. So I don't want to talk too much because it's a bunch of conjecture and what ifs, and really, although I study this heavily, I don't know. I mean, if you go back a decade, the talk was the Amero. Well, you don't even hear about the Amero anymore. You don't hear about this NAFTA union, one currency for Mexico, United States, and Canada. And, if you go back, like I said, about a decade, maybe longer, not everyone, but certain of our ilk were nearly certain that was going to happen, like the European Union with the euro. Yeah. It happened. So this is a dynamic thing. This is something in motion, and it's pretty hard to determine, what's going to happen. I'll just leave it at that.